You know, I may pay for that comment later. But the look on her face was totally worth it. As the school year progresses, the days start to feel like they're moving along much faster. A part of it may be the change of the season, however slight that change may be. While the calendar says it's officially fall, the only thing I've really noticed was the increasing number of clouds in the sky. Better safe than sorry, though, which is why I brought my fancy compact carbon fiber umbrella. Still, things have started to be routine for me in the mornings. Wake up, throw on my clothes, consider eating breakfast before realizing I'd wrecked my stomach, walk to the station with a feather-light umbrella in hand. And there he is. And wouldn't you know it, I end up having another chat with Mr. Ferris on the ride to school. Hello, Mr. Nito. How are you this morning? Doing fine, sir. Thank you. How are you? I'm doing well. So, my niece told me over the weekend that you and Olivia were in a predicament of some sort. Yeah, Olivia was being picked on by someone, but it's not a problem anymore. I see. Well, that's unfortunate to hear. And strange, considering the substantial funding the school gets for anti-student harassment programs. What good is all that tax money if classmates are still ragging on each other? If it means anything, Olivia knows how to handle herself. I was there to support her. That's fine, but the issue is, this sort of thing shouldn't be happening to begin with. That aside, Liz has gotten somewhat enthusiastic recently regarding Olivia. She's surprised at how animated she's gotten. Ever since that go-getter get-together at Randall's place, I think. I'd wager you'd had something to do with it, no? Maybe a little. Yeah, it was certainly rocky in the beginning, but we've been warming up to each other. It's nice seeing a different side of her, even if it's brief. I don't know. Can I take credit for that? We all have unique chances to make a change, Inko. If you're good at grasping them, then that in itself is something to be proud of. How do you know if it's really a chance to do anything? He lets out a deep, reverberating chuckle. Well, to flip our usual script and let you in on an old phrase, a friend of mine once told me, if you see a fork in the road, take it. Yeah? Thanks, Mr. Ferris. Like my mornings, the school days have become a routine as well. Slave through PE with Damien and see Olivia's new doodles and sketches in art class. Watch Liz lose her mind tutoring Damien at lunch. Talk shop with Ben. Though now I have to avoid Mia like the plague, because she's surely out to kill me. All said, I think St. Hammond has been my best school experience out of... Man, I've lost count of how often I've moved. Must be the fresh head trauma. As for today... It's been raining pretty often recently, so Coach Sully made us play more dodgeball in the gym. God damn, son. Oh, God. Good Lord. Mia was definitely gunning for me with the way she launched them at me with the speed of a catapult. I rest in Nidekin's class, popping my spine against the curve of my chair. Apparently today is a short day because of some assembly, so the period will end much earlier than usual. It also means we got most of the period to slack off, do homework. Grew, I don't know, whatever. I'm sorry, that was bad. That was real bad. I glance at the desk next to me in the hopes of catching Olivia's latest artistic masterpiece, when I notice she's not drawing, and instead only fidgeting. Hey, Olivia, you seem a bit nervous. Everything alright? Yeah, sorry, it's just that, I've been hearing rumors that the school's shared drive might have been corrupted. Surely they have backups. They would have to, right? On different computers? God. Wait, really? Yeah, really. How would something like that happen? Not sure, but I'm scared that it might have messed with the art contest submissions. I think you should check out your entry on the website, just to make sure it's okay. Technology don't fail me now. With urgency, I take out my phone and type in the school website. Fast fingers lead me to the art contest lab. Can this loading bar go any slower? Fucking... why are we paying for this internet? Why pay for this if it doesn't do anything when you leave your house? Finally, the page loads in and... oh. Looks like the submissions have been closed. What? I hold the phone up for Olivia to show her the page. The submissions have been closed since voting started last week. Oh. Sheesh, I thought Mr. Ideken had spooked me. Olivia's all seized up. Well, that's quite reassuring. With the submissions closed, there's no chance of any hacker messing with them. Olivia doesn't seem convinced, still drumming her fingers on her desk. Hopefully she'll feel loads better when the preliminary winners are revealed. I'm still not over the betrayal. God. At this point, I've finally got the first episode up, so... it takes a while sometimes. Speaking of which, when are we... Oh, as the bell sounds, the class begins to pack their things and Ideken corrals everybody into a single file line. Alright everybody, we have an assigned row, so stick together. Before I join the rest of the line, I look back at Olivia, who seems to be stalling. Come on, I'll walk with you. That seems to stir something in her, and she glances up to me while hastily shoving a notebook into her bag. Yeah, I'm coming. As we head out the door, I notice Olivia shuffling her hoodie a lot. Right, it's been a few days. It's not a long walk to the auditorium, and despite Ideken's best attempts, most of the class splinters off to sit with their friends. Having expected this, he shrugs and makes his way over to the back of the auditorium, where the other teachers are. Olivia and I are left to the struggling crowd trying to filter into the cramped theater of the school. It's going to be difficult finding some seats. It's fine. I have a spot. Olivia wheels herself down the pathway, to which I follow suit. She heads down the aisle until we are at the first row of seats. There's a vacant spot where a typical seat would be with a faded handicap sign. Olivia parks her chair into the empty spot, to which I take the seat next to her. Best seats in the house, right? Can't complain. As the hall fills with more students, my anticipation rises. Oh man, I can hardly wait for the announcements. So, you think I have a chance? Huh? Oh, maybe. Photography isn't super popular, but... Olivia folds her hands on her lap, staring straight ahead as her voice trails off. I knew that, but I'm still hopeful. Hey guys. I have to remind myself that this is normal. Hey Liz. I can't believe it's finally here. Gosh, I'm so excited. Me too, by the way. Where's Damien? Hey guys! I'm over here! Damien is in the far back of the auditorium, yelling and waving his hands in the air to catch our attention. He's gonna get in trouble for that. Frills, sit down! Damien immediately stops and takes his seat. With tempered expectations, we both sit in silence for just a few minutes, before Principal Scalar walks on stage and taps on a standing microphone. Okay, everyone. I don't know if I could do a Crabble impression. She looks just like her. I mean, God. Okay, everyone, got a whole bunch of important announcements to make, so I'll make them quick so we can all have an early lunch. As soon as the idea of going for an early lunch is brought up by Principal Scalar, the entire room goes as silent as vigil. I guess when it comes to an early lunch, it's serious business. It's super serial. Over the next 15 minutes, Principal Scalar goes over important events coming up in the school year. Most I would consider standard things like pep rallies for the sports teams, or bake sales to fundraise for upcoming field trips, and even something about new clubs being formed, such as the Japanese Animation Appreciation Society. Not the best acronym, if I had to say. JAS. Otherwise, it's all mostly boring housekeeping stuff when one right got down to it. I almost wonder why such announcements warranted an assembly when the mood suddenly shifts with Scalar's next big announcement. Now that we all got the main stuff out of the way, I've saved the best announcement for last. St. Amand is proud to announce the 5 semifinalists for the annual Fresh Start Art Contest. Cheers and applause roars, loud enough to make my ears ring. Yet I'd be lying if I said I also wasn't excited for the reveal of who had just made it to the semifinals. Maybe I was giving myself a bit too much credit, but I really wanted to be among those semifinalists. I can almost taste victory. In fact, I turned to face Olivia and prepared to cheer alongside her, but I'm stopped in my tracks when I notice that, unlike the rest of her peers, Olivia seems to be uneasy about the prospect. Almost scared, even. Before I can ask Olivia why her sudden change in mood, Scalar continues with her next words, cutting my train of thought off. And here we have the semifinalists. The pieces of the 5 skillful students who had beaten all the other competitors came up, followed by the names of the victors right above them. Alas, I see no photography submission in sight. At least I gave it a shot, right? Oh man, I didn't make it in. Liz's neck droops down like a melancholy noodle. I can't help but feel pity for the bummed out Brachiosaurus. Checking my phone, I see. Tell Liz to come back here, bro. I'm sure that asset is somewhere by itself in the folder, so I'll maybe zoom in on that a little bit. I'm sure Damien's got that handled. God. Despite my sullied mood, I look back to the semifinal winners and can't help but be amazed by them. Each artwork is impressive in their own right, their colors blending wonderfully and the figures beautifully designed. It's easy to see why these were voted as the winners. The last one especially catches my eye. The scenic landscape with a setting sun looks stunning. If not for the slight stylization of the skyline and fantastical color palette, it could probably pass off as a real photograph with some filters pasted over it. I'm no art critic yet, but if I were, I'd label it as a masterpiece and easily the best out of all of them. Let's give our winners a big round of applause. The auditorium fills with the usual kind of clapping one would expect in an event like this. Polite with an underlying tone of disinterest, though one person felt compelled to constantly make a piercingly high whistle. We will be displaying the winners' art pieces in rooms 237. You're welcome to view them during lunch and after school today. Oh, neato. Neato Inco. Principal Scaler continues the rest of the assembly, announcing other events for the school and other minor reminders. Behind me, I see the teachers start psyching themselves up for the Herculean task of getting some 200 hungry dinosaur teenagers out of the room and towards lunch without anyone getting killed. Principal Scaler finishes and waves back to them to signal it's time. Alright, we're going to start adjourning to lunch. You all know how this goes, so no just going for the exit. Being in the first row, we're the first to get up. I follow behind Olivia until we make it to the hall. Hey, Olivia. She stops and turns a bit. Geez, is she still anxious about the sight thing earlier? She looks a little pale. I wanted to check out the winning paintings a bit more. Want to come along? She considers for a moment. No, go on without me. I need to use the restroom. Alright, I'll see you at the lunch table then. Olivia nods and starts off down the hall, following the flow of students towards the lunchroom. Let's see, the principal said it was room 237. First thing I notice walking into the classroom is the amount of people checking out the gallery. While I didn't expect it to be filled to the brim with eager students, there's a decent amount of people here, about a baker's dozen or so. Maybe more will come when they finish up their lunches. Well, I'm here now. Let's take a look at the lucky winners. The pieces are all set on easels in the back of the classroom. Some desks and chairs are moved closer to the front to give each one its own space. One by one, I take a moment to give each canvas a thorough review. The auditorium screen really didn't give the art justice. because now I can really take in the detail of each one by being up close. The color palettes, the brushwork, the subtle nuances. Yeah, I can definitely see all of them having a good shot at getting first prize. But now it's time to see the one I've been eager to look at since it was first shown. From what I recall from Mr. Ideken's lessons, it's made with acrylics, explaining why the colors of it seem more vibrant. It stands out in defiance to the other paintings in the contest, most of which were either violently absurdist and meaningless or muted, still lives of ordinary objects. It's a meadow of mystifying colors, the organic lines drawing the viewer deeper into the piece, and I feel as though this would be a place I'd wake up to within a fantastical dream. This is some Persona 5 shit we're going through. There's no rigid structure or forced metaphors here, just a fantastical merger of creative expressionism and real-world beauty. I feel my fingers itching for the familiar weight of my DSLR. This is a piece that I want to immortalize in my portfolio. It's hands down the winner of the contest in my eyes. I simply must find out who made this. Looks like the breathtaking show of artistic talent was created by semifinalist winner Excuse me? Excuse me, sir. What do you mean by this? That's a problem, and I think I have an idea what happened here. Hi, Inko. I'm glad you swung by. Looks like you're admiring the art contest entries. I told you St. Hammond's artistic programs were unparalleled. That's not mine. What's not yours? I try to say more, but the words won't leave my mouth. Ben's eyes follow mine to the bottom of the painting in front of me, and I watch as he makes the same realization as I do. Inko, did you paint this? I had no idea your style was so developed, so humble. If I had known... That's not my entry. It's not? No, mine was a photograph. But what's your name doing on this one? It must be some kind of mistake. A million scenarios come to mind. They must have got the wrong name somehow. If they did, I think the real artist would have come forward by now. Then the submission website must be hacked or broken. But our school checks for stuff like that. If it was, we would have known by now. Then, Inko, you're sure you didn't submit somebody else's piece by accident? Of course I didn't. Why would I do something like that? You're the only one who can log into your account, Inko. Suddenly, everything stops. My account. Did somebody... He did take a photograph of it, now that I think about it. So somebody could get into the camera without him knowing about it. Look, relax, all right? We can get this sorted out, just don't panic. Ben lowers his voice. But Inko, just to be clear... What? You didn't just get a bit of extra help, right? Ben looks at me through the edge of his glasses, eye to eye. There's some real stakes in this contest. Cheating is taken seriously. Especially fraud. The word echoes around inside me. Fraud. It makes my bones chill. There's ingenuine, faker, liar. They're all bad in different ways, but fraud is just dripping with frigid condemnation. No, I swear I submitted a photograph. Ben relaxes his shoulders. All right, just making sure. Sorry to alarm you. It's perturbing how he can go from deadly serious to jovial like a flipped switch. You gonna be all right? Sorry, I need some air. Hey, feel free. I'll let Scalar know, okay? Yeah, thanks, Ben. No problem. Take it easy. Ben offers me an earnest smile, waving at me as he steps out of the room and down the hall. After some time, I follow him, shambling down the hall as I try to make sense of what just happened. I thought everybody actually liked my photography, but they all thought I was some kind of expert painter instead. I don't even know how to express it. I feel empty. I thought maybe my hard work was finally paying off, but I submitted the right entry, so what happened? Did somebody change it? If so, how? It's such a good piece, too. What even is there to be gained by putting my name on it? I think I'm connecting some dots, maybe. We'll get there when we get there. I wander aimlessly down through the halls. The thought of missing lunch passes through my mind, but there's a different sort of emptiness pervading my stomach. Why is it rattling me like it is? Man, it's not like I'm in trouble or anything. Ben's helping me sort this out. I'm at a loss of what to even think right now. Oh, crap. Olivia mentioned something about server issues before. I couldn't see my submission, but was it just that? Maybe Olivia was right to be worried. Well, duh. Why else would she be so nervous? My aimless walking leads me outside the principal's office in the gala. At the gala... There's that one cityscape painting from the start of the school year. The very first painting I ever saw here, and still one of the best. A vibrant cityscape that morphs the rigid structure of urban planning into a soft and inviting utopia, as if viewed from the eyes of a child. The sky above the city is a beautiful shade of crimson, with radiant clouds clustered along its length. If the art contest submission was the best painting I've ever seen, then this one comes close. I can only imagine the accolades she must have gotten for painting this back then. You know, for a while I got to have that experience. I got to step in the shoes of an artist much better than myself. Maybe that was the intent. All the praise, approval, everything I've been wanting. Just for a while, it was given by an anonymous stranger. Whoever that may be. Actually, this gives me a bit of an idea. If I'm clever and Olivia's up for it, this can be a cool way to get her to show off her painting more. Everyone would like that. Maybe that's what she needs. I could act as like a personal publisher for her so she doesn't have to deal with people. Wait a second. I peeled down the empty hallway. I need to find Olivia. She couldn't possibly. But I do think so. Why me? Why would she? Thinking about it only increases my worries and desperation to find who I hope to rapture Jesus isn't the culprit. I haphazardly check all the places where Olivia could be, but can't find her anywhere. My hunt for the Bronx leads me to the second floor of the atrium. It feels like there's a lead brick in the pit of my stomach as I internalize my current situation. The soft pattering of rain hitting the window grabs my attention to see a gloom-covered Volcadera outside. My eyes wander along the school's pathway, covered in mud thanks to the earlier rainfall. Wait a minute. Those look like tracks in the mud. Due process has failed us. And I'll probably play Shadow Warrior, by the way, for the person that asked. Might as well. And I haven't forgotten about Rain World either. I burst through the main entrance doors and am met with the feelings of droplets hitting my head. Outside, a dark overcast has rolled in. The forecast called for on and off rain during the day, but pretty gnarly clouds. Makes it look almost dusk around. Crap, what am I wasting time for? I follow the trail with urgency, fearing that the rain will wash it away. Looks like it goes down the whole pathway. I ignore my clothes, becoming progressively damp and the water collecting on my shades. Eventually, I round the curve that leads to the bridge and see a distressing item at its end. A wheelchair. Olivia's wheelchair. Empty of the occupant, toppled on its side. A new fear grips at me, born from the mental imagery provided by that sight. Those cruel thoughts push me up the steps faster than humanly possible, even as my rational mind tries to reassure me. Running across the deck, my breath is caught in my throat as I reach the middle. She's on the ground, head slumped down. There's damaged and soaked school supplies scattered all over the walkway. Oh God, is she okay? My foot shifts, trying to force me closer. Slowly, her head lifts up to the sound of my shoes squelching on the floor. Inko? Her tear-stained eyes stare at me with a dead expression, and her voice sounds weak. Olivia? I feel like I can finally breathe again. Slowly, Olivia pushes herself up, and I notice she's lying atop a pile of paper shreddings. The feeling of relief slowly fades away, and I remember just why I was looking for her. We stay silent, only staring at each other as the rain continues to bear down on us. She simply sits there, letting herself grow more and more soaked from the rain. Do you want to talk? No, not out in the open. I grabbed my compact umbrella from my backpack and unfurled it. It doesn't do much to dry Olivia off, but at least she's not getting more soaked. The umbrella is placed between us and the elements against the ledge, forming a personal canopy above us. Here, now we're alone. There's space next to Olivia to take a seat. It's odd. We've sat together before, but sitting on the ground in the rain. And the room is just a little claustrophobic. There's bits of paper melted into the pavement, soaked by rain. Though torn apart and waterlogged, I can sort of make out a tree, a rough sketch of one anyways. Like the one that stood prominently in my false submission. So you did do it. Inko, please, I can explain. I didn't have a choice. What? I know what I did was wrong, but I didn't have any other way. It wasn't a choice to not trick me. She avoids looking at me, focusing on the scraps of paper scattered about the floor like confetti. It wasn't to trick you. I get it. You're mad at me. I'm not mad. I'm just confused. I thought we were good friends. I wasn't expecting it. Expecting you. She pauses to give her throat some respite. Her usual water bottle isn't anywhere nearby. A shaky breath escapes her mouth. When you came around, I thought you were no different than the others. That you were some self-centered, pretentious midwit who only cares about his image. That's when I got the idea of using you to swap out your art with mine. You didn't seem like the kind of person who cared about how he gets the attention from others. Just that he gets it. Her description of my character feels really reductive, but the ache in my chest tells me it hits a little too close to home. But that's not what I think of you now. Idakin's the one person I can trust. So when he went to bat for you, saying we'd make good friends, I was worried. What's so special about this guy? I honestly got scared he'd be wrong. That you'd just be like everybody else, and I'd be setting myself up for failure. But worse than that, Inko, I was afraid he'd be right, that I'd have to face what I'd done to myself. And now I've gone and done something like this. Switching my contest entry. She nods, swallowing hard. I wasn't thinking. Suddenly, everyone was out of balance. Everything I'd created, all my work, my own little world was suddenly changing, and I had no control of it. I just had to do something. I didn't know I was doing that. I'm sorry. She stops to process my words and continues. I knew I'd get caught. It's stupid. I was hoping for it even. Someone to figure out that it was swapped so it would be changed and everyone would be none the wiser. She turns to face me with silver eyes welled with tears. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I just don't want to go back to being the person I used to be. The person who didn't care about hurting you. Her head tilts downward with a violent hitch of breath. Ivory claws extend and grip at her knees in a painful display, and yet Olivia chokes back any sound she'd make. Her body shudders with every heavy breath from her, and I realize that every last defensive barrier she had was completely gone. Olivia's laid herself bare, leaving only the crying girl desperately trying to silence her pitiful tears. Faced with those unbidden words from Olivia, I'd have to be a heartless bastard to do anything but accept her apology. It's clear that the guilt has been rotting in her conscience ever since. What she did was wrong, no doubt about it. But then again, thinking of her circumstances, how can I blame her? How could anyone? I probably would have ended up having to do the same thing in her shoes. At this point, Olivia's put herself through enough stress as is. If there's one thing she needs to hear right now, it's that I forgive her. I don't hate you, Olivia. You don't? No, I don't. I won't lie, I definitely felt hurt when I first found out. But the fact that you're willing to admit your mistakes shows that you're growing as a person. I'm really glad to hear that we're friends. It's refreshing to hear her say it. I was worried she was only just putting up with me. Olivia seems understandably puzzled over my lack of anger towards her. I'd figured you'd be more upset. Is this just your pity? If so, I don't want it. It's not pity, Olivia. I'm accepting your apology. I don't want you to feel guilty about it. The sooner we can all put this behind us, the better. But I can tell you're a good person, so don't worry about it, all right? I offer her my best smile. Olivia slowly nods. When you put it that way, I guess. But still. Truth be told, I deserve to fail, to actually face consequences. I'm such a fucking fraud. All over a damn painting. Olivia, you did what you thought you had to do, and you're saying sorry for the consequences. That's all that matters. I scooch closer to Olivia. Huh? That was you taking action in a way I never would have guessed. A crime of passion, I think it's called. I'm probably wrong, but she gets the idea. The world runs on those. You don't need to change. I don't think you did anything wrong. She leans her head against the wall of the railing before looking at me with a half smile. Thanks. You're right. I'm just throwing everything away like an idiot. I'm just scared. I'm here with you. I coax the rest of the tired grin from her, and she looks down at the shredded papers again. After that, after everything she's said and done, things became quiet. Beneath the solace of my umbrella, we relax together. At least until Olivia begins shifting uncomfortably. I sit and watch as she takes her towels and shifts them to her side with one hand. Her tail comes around and presses into the paper-filled floor before her, keeping her upright as she starts to lean forward. Finally, with the strength of her tail and one arm, Olivia lifts her hips from the floor and swings her shins fully beneath her. She smiles as she kneels over me. "You're just gonna sit there?" Crap, I guess I was gawking stupidly. But it's just so fascinating, seeing the girl maneuver herself in these odd yet well-practiced ways. I'm kind of jealous, actually. I wish I had a tail to do some of the things she could. I press my hand down on the floor and push myself up. I don't know why I had thought to stand, but instead I shifted myself to a kneeling position too. We're face to face now. For a split second, I feared the worst as Olivia drew me into a hug. I don't know what she would do, but this. I like this. For how strong her arms are, how they're wrapped around my chest feels exceptionally tender. My own arms have enveloped her, returning the embrace in a similarly soft way. And as her arms loosen, I draw back, though I don't want to take my hands off her. That was nice. Don't make it weird. Sorry about that. Though the sound of the rainfall hitting the umbrella, my ears suddenly pick up the noise of what sounds like squeaking. What? I look down and see that there's something shuffling in Olivia's pocket. A little beast emerges from its hiding spot with a squeaky yawn, to which Olivia offers her hand for it to use as a platform. I saw the name Squeaks, so before, so, or whatever the name actually is. Hey, little guy, nearly forgot about you. Had a nice nap. Cheese to meet you. Cheese to meet you, Squeaks. That's a disgusting rat.
I will fucking smash this mouse in my house with a hammer.
That's a disgusting rat. What the fuck? I wish I had a pet rat or something. or a pet snake or lizard or something. I don't know. Oh, Guts. I thought it was Squeaks. I don't know why I remembered differently. Oh, right. You two haven't met each other. Inko, this is Guts. Guts, meet Inko. Hi, Guts. You're not going to give me rabies, are you? I awkwardly wave at the apprehensive-looking rodent. Olivia lifts Guts to her shoulder gracefully, like her hand is an elevator for him. You brought him to school? Well, yeah. I just really needed him today since, you know, all the crap that happened. She gives Guts a few scratches under his chin. I bring him sometimes when things get rough. And nobody noticed. You haven't. Touché. Ideken did once. He just told me to not let him run around the school. Otherwise it would be considered a health hazard or something. The tardy bell rings out in the distance. We're late for our next classes. And we didn't eat anything. Honestly, we're better off not eating anything. I'm sure Idakin will understand. We should probably get back to class. Here, hold this. I give Olivia the umbrella so she and the rat can stay dry while I go fetch the wheelchair. I did it! By now, it's settled and some into the mud. This wheelchair has definitely seen better days. After dusting off the dirt and pooling water the best I can, I make my way back. Thanks. She offers the umbrella back, but I make sure to hold it above her. I keep the wheelchair steady with one hand as Olivia climbs into the seat, using her tail to help herself up. We stand in the rain in silence for a bit, only sharing content glances. So, what do we do about the contest now? That's a good question. Ben was there when I saw my name on the painting. He already went to tell someone. So, like you said, no harm, no foul. What about your own submission? I ruined it. I scratched the back of my head. I wouldn't have won anyway. It's just a picture. Oh. I thought it was pretty okay. Hearing those words from Olivia sends a strange flash of heat to my face. It's not unpleasant, but again, those honest words from her really do cut through me for some reason. Thanks. A loud squeak draws my eyes to Guts as he stands atop Olivia's shoulder. You too. A wry smile etches across Olivia's face. I think Guts is saying it's actually so-so. He's not too cheesed about it. For you, it's on the mouse. Hey! Cut him some slack, Guts. Inko didn't have any time to make anything for the contest. He's got some high standards. Yep, that's why I've gotten so good. The sheer absurdity of it. You gotta work on your anatomy, Olivia. I don't know which of us broke first, but our laughter fills the air, heard only by us as the rainfall cuts off all other noise. So, now what? I don't know. I don't want to go yet. Still pretty worn out. Worn out. A smile crosses my face as a wicked idea comes to mind. Well, too bad. What? I walk around behind Olivia, grinning like a mad idiot. Inko, what are you doing? Inko, stop! That's a classic. Sorry. Her head tries to follow me as I stand right behind her chair. What the fuck was that creature, by the way? That's the weirdest looking thing I ever seen in my life. My God. Her head tries to follow me as I stand right behind her chair. I figured that pushing your chair around is really tiring, so how about I help you out? Olivia blushes and looks away. Fine, but just for today. Returning to the campus was certainly awkward. Passerby shoots us looks. It's not the most common scene to see a girl in a wheelchair just roll on in sopping wet and tracking mud in. More likely, though, it was because the said girl has taken to using my umbrella to hide herself from those looks. She was already extremely red in her face. It was a conundrum. Drop the umbrella and let people see her, or keep it up and draw more attention. I shall name it the Nito Theorem. She's gonna kill me if I ever attempt to publish it. But making our way back to Olivia's current class, she simply shook her still concealed head. I did not really have much of a choice. From all that I knew of the girl, her last classes were all on the upper levels. And she was in possession of the elevator key. And I was in possession of the weakest knees here in St. Hammond, at least according to Coach Solly. So I wheeled her to my current photography class. On the way over, she keeps bending her head back to peek at me, like she's making sure I'm still there. Knocking on this closed door, the pterosaur professor didn't even bat an eye at the poorly hidden girl. He simply stepped aside and let us through. Ben was looking our way, but I chose to pay him no mind. After everything I heard, Olivia didn't even register he was here. She simply rolled herself to the back of the classroom and through a door into what I always guessed was Idegen's supply closet. You know what? I'm an idiot. It's a dark room, isn't it? The stares of my other classmates abated thankfully as our teacher continued his lecture. Taking my own seat, I focused on Idegen. As much as I could, at least. My muddled thoughts kept me distracted the whole period. Just before the bell rings, Idegen stared me dead in the eye. He points a stern finger directed at me, then to the floor to signal, "You, stay." Once everyone else has left, he closes the class door and locks it. So, care to explain? Explain, sir. He opens the door in the back and signals Olivia to come on out. The mud, the drenched clothes, the declaration of sanctuary. I was having a bad day. She's looking a bit better, still drained, but she's not shivering. Her rat sits on her lap, and Idegen extends a finger down the scratch under its chin. I can see that. He takes a seat against the nearby desk and waves a hand for Olivia to go on. When she doesn't, he shifts his hand to me. I look between the two of them. Mr. Idegen's expectant leer, and Olivia's pleading eyes. Ultimately, I shake my head in the negative. I just helped Olivia get out of the rain. Of course. He slouches further atop the desk. Can I tell you some other time? Sure. Whatever it was, it looks like you've recovered pretty well. Olivia doesn't answer verbally, instead giving him a bashful smile and nod. Was it about your work again? Yeah. Oh, this girl. He turns to me and points a thumb at her. You know, the work she's so concerned about absolutely wrecks the grading curve in my class. For the sake of the other students, I had to put a limit on extra credit assignments. Really? Yeah, never before would I even consider such a restraint. Why punish someone for working so hard? I would think to myself. Then, 4 years ago, this little green goblin comes rolling into my class, half a semester and more than and more than a few angry calls from parents later, my hands were tied. Young lady simply does too dang much. Olivia smiles, but doesn't look up from her pet. It was that much better than all the other students. Well, no, I don't grade by technique. If I did, you'd be in big trouble, Inko. Olivia's work was very good even then, but the main thing I admire is how motivated she can be. I haven't seen someone so enthused to just... I haven't seen someone so enthused to just paint in years. Certainly haven't seen anyone so enthused I had to change the rules like that. You were worried it'd stop me. Was I? That definitely sounds like me, but it didn't stop you, not even a little. Heck, that year you even got me to see some things differently. I don't think I ever did anything like that. You did when you came in after class the Friday before Mother's Day. Take a look at this. I'm handed the quill pen, and the first thing I note is how soft the feather portion is. It's the special pen you always use. It's actually from my wife. Huh. Inspecting it closer, I can see more of the intricate details. From the faded engravings on the shank to the maintained but worn point. It's well made and kept, and yet the feather and brass shows his age. She came in that afternoon with a whole stack of crumpled painting drafts, so frustrated she couldn't get it right and so determined to make it perfect. I say any of these would be great. Your aunt would love any of these. And she fires back. If it's not good enough for me, why would it be good enough for someone I love? I did not have an answer. So I tell her to take a step back. We take a few hours to go over the fundamentals once more. I send her home to try getting it right over the weekend. And come Monday, she returns and hugs me first thing. That Friday night, though, what she said was on my mind. I talked about it all night with my wife. Then that morning, I decided to make a change for myself. My wife was molting at the time, so there was always a new feather or three in our blankets each morning. I took the biggest one, preserved it right, got a bit of help to make it into a real pen. And I've used it ever since. It helps me remember to do my job right, for the people I care about, and for the people my students care about. I think it was what it was. It's that childlike reasoning that comes so naturally for the youth. That reasoning, it makes a type of innocent, earnest dedication, something I think I'd lost for a while. Don't give me so much credit. You haven't lost it, have you? Good. Don't lose it for me, okay? Okay. Attican yawns and stretches. You feeling all right to go to your next class? Yeah, I'm ready. Great. He claps a hand over my back. We should do this again sometime. Mr. Attican ushers us out of his classroom as the late bell trills, handing us a note he's rapidly scrawled on. Miss Brockling didn't seem enthused to see us come in late, but sighed as she read the late note from Attican. As I took my usual spot, I felt something odd in the corner of my eye. Looking up, it was to see Olivia looking my way, with that smile on her face. One that spoke so many words, yet I couldn't figure out what. All I could do as turn was try to match it, before focusing on Miss Prockline's latest lecture.